Dashing through the swamp, amazing chest ahead. Could this be a dog? Listen carefully, skeleton. Yeah! Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. It's the holiday season, and that means time for gifts. But as FromSoftware fans, we've already been given the greatest gift of all. What could that be, you ask? The best lore in gaming? That excellent sense of accomplishment that one can only get from beating a FromSoft game? The memes? No! The gift of you! What do I mean by that? Simply this. Throughout the years, ever since I started being a fan, Miyazaki and company have been playing dirty tricks on us for their sick amusement. To celebrate their twisted sense of humor, I'm counting down my picks for the top 10 times that we got trolled by FromSoftware. Number 10. Let's start off the countdown with one of the best introductory levels in a FromSoft game, Stormveil Castle. If you've been following the Sites of Grace, Stormveil Castle is going to be the first legacy dungeon you reach in Elden Ring. And guess what? It's pretty damn hard. After getting nice and settled in Stormveil, I was really excited to see all the cool similarities to the first world of Demon Souls, the Boletarian Palace. I love it when FromSoft does cool little callbacks like this. You know what wasn't cool? When I walked into this room and the door got locked behind me and I realized that I was trapped in the dark, and I did notice a treasure chest in the corner, but almost immediately I noticed the very large knight that is in the room. And this guy is going to be the toughest dude that you have had to deal with so far in the game, most likely. And not only is he strong, he has wind magic. Very good, right? So what happened? Well, of course, I panicked and he soundly beat my ass into oblivion. Number 9. Before I played Demon Souls, I had never experienced a video game that could intimidate me and put me on edge like that game did. And unquestionably, the most frightening area of Demon Souls is level 3, the Tower of Latria. There's something about FromSoftware games that when you're adventuring in their levels and you run into an NPC, there's something very comforting about that, just to hear a friendly voice and to see somebody who's not trying to kill you. So when I got to level 3-2 Upper Latria, I was actually pretty relieved to see this man locked in a cage who just was asking to be let out. I later found out his name was Yurt, and even though he had really dark, creepy looking armor and he kind of looked like the devil, he seemed like an okay dude, so I let him out. So guess what happened? It turns out that the guy who looks like the devil is actually a bad guy. I got back to the Nexus and there were corpses strewn all about on the ground, and because I'm an idiot who can't take a hint, I just kept on about the game and did not respond to this man who was killing all of my friends, and bodies continued to pile up. Eventually, I just had it and I attacked and killed the bastard. Oh, good. Look at how much damage I do with Soul Ray. Holy piss. Soul Ray is dope. Look at that. 3-hitted that little asshole. Mephistopheles was right. Oh, so you've been talking to Satan? You've been talking to Satan, bitch? Satan ain't gonna help you from me. He ain't gonna help you from me, boy. Naturally, this was something that I had never seen in a video game. Like, who makes an NPC character that you save and then he goes around and kills all of your buddies? So, you can imagine my extreme surprise when in Dark Souls, they got me again with this. Kind of flipping the concept on its head, this time we save a guy in a cell who does not have creepy looking armor. He actually has beautiful golden radiant armor. The trick is this time, the guy sounds like the devil. And because I'm an idiot, I let him out. And guess what happened? This time, he didn't just start killing everybody. No, he didn't kill everybody. He just killed the Firekeeper, possibly the most important NPC in Firelink Shrine. The good news about Lautrec the Dick Cheese is that when he kills the Firekeeper, you can actually invade him once you get to Anor Londo. You can kill him and his stupid friends, and you can take the Firekeeper's soul back to the shrine and revive her. So, no harm, no foul. And finally, my favorite example of FromSoft creating an NPC to kill all of your friends, we have the suspicious beggar that we find in the Forbidden Woods of Bloodborne. We have established that I am not incredibly smart or clever, and that is why, when I found this man hovering over a pile of corpses, I sent him to the chapel where all of the good and kind and decent NPCs that I saved were located. I could have sent him to Yosefka's clinic. Probably wouldn't have heard any more from him after that. But because I can't take a hint, I sent him to the chapel. And when I arrived, he had already killed my grandma. When you do approach the beggar, who is covered in blood, I still don't know how I can't just pick up on this stuff. Anyway, when you do talk to him, he's very happy and excited. And that must be because people are delicious. After attacking the beggar, he turns into a huge beast who will drop the beast rune if you manage to kill him, but it is quite a damn fight. He is one of the toughest enemies you'll fight up until this point of the game. So, do what I do. Cheese the bitch. Number 8. Demon Souls was my first FromSoftware game, and it had a lot of nasty business that you had to contend with. The Valley of Defilement definitely comes to mind there. However, one thing that Demon Souls did not have was a point in the game where you get almost halfway through your adventure, and then for some reason, when you go into this dark room, you open up a treasure chest to get your reward, and then it eats your face.
Interesting. The fuck is that?
There's something really sick and twisted about taking that moment of excitement over a new piece of loot and instead giving you one of those horrifying and terrible creatures in all of Dark Souls. And of course, I have to acknowledge the trauma. After playing Dark Souls, none of us look at treasure chests the same way again. Number 7. Going back to Dark Souls, how about that time where you rolled up in a ball and you had the bird take you back to the asylum? Seeing as how this was the tutorial area, I really didn't expect those hollows with the torches to do so much damage and to kick my ass so much. But after getting used to them, I thought to myself, hey, it's not going to be that bad. And then I walked in the front door.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah, there was no way to see that coming. And I think that's why this is one of the best troll moments in all of Dark Souls, because there was absolutely no hints letting you know that that floor was gonna fall out underneath you. Of course, when you're in the tutorial, if you look through that window in the Undead Asylum, you can actually see that other demon walking around in that room. Of course, you're probably not gonna be thinking about that when he is smashing the shit out of you with his increased attack damage and his extremely destructive AoE attack. Oh man, this is just such a classic moment. Things like this are why I love FromSoftware. Number 6. You know, these games have all different kinds of bosses. Some are big, some are small, some are weak, some are strong, and some get help when you're trying to kill them. Just imagine that you were me in 2009 and you got to the second boss of Demon Souls and you saw the awesome cutscene for the Tower Knight. He's one of the coolest bosses in the game. And then, when the fight starts, you find out that there's a shitload of archers shooting at you from above. Like, what the crap, guys? Is this huge knight not enough? Another boss in Demon Souls that has a little helper along is the Fool's Idol in the Tower of Latria. And if you don't go upstairs of the church and kill that little freaking nerd, he will actually revive her every time you kill her. That's some bullshit. In Dark Souls, they brought this concept back, but it's much more forgiving this time. This time you have a channeler that if you don't take him out before the fight with the Gaping Dragon, he will buff the dragon. However, it does not make the fight impossible, just a little bit harder. The last example I want to talk about is the One Reborn, or as I refer to him, the shitty Tower Knight. This boss sucks. The last time I fought him, he was incredibly easy, but one really annoying thing about him is as soon as you get to his arena, you have to go up top. Not this time to take out archers, but to take out all the women who shoot fireballs at you and heal the boss. There's just something about a boss that needs help to beat you that just makes him kind of seem like a wuss. Oh yeah, and you know what? Capra Demon, you're one too. Number 5. Can you guess what my favorite game show of all time is? The $100,000 Pyramid? Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Press your luck? No, idiot. It's Double Dare, of course. That's why my favorite level to play in Dark Souls is Sin's Fortress, because not only do you get to traverse a brutal obstacle course, you also get to answer trivia questions. Sin's Fortress is packed with peril.
I'm in danger!
And one of its most devastating traps is this elevator. So what happens with this elevator? Well, it goes up pretty quickly, and it momentarily stops at a doorway. And if you do not roll out that doorway the second you get there, you're gonna have a bad time. Upon inspection, you can actually see blood on the base of this elevator. And when I saw it, I just assumed it was set decoration. Because I'm an idiot. I don't know what's worse. The fact that they put such a devious trap in this level, or the fact that all the hints were there and I merely overlooked them. Either way, this thing is hilarious and awesome, and I would love to see more stuff like this in future FromSoftware titles. Number 4. Let's talk about the Forbidden Woods, everyone's favorite level of Bloodborne, because it's so great. I mean, think about it. We get to get out of the city, we get to go get some nice, fresh country air, we get to explore nature. Oh, wow! Is Kevin freaking McAllister home alone in Bloodborne today? This thing is awesome. It makes me laugh every time, even if it's happening to me. But watching my friends get whacked by this thing is also very enjoyable. While a trap like this definitely would not make sense in Central Yharnam, it totally is logical in the Forbidden Woods. And I really like the fact that it's right at the beginning of the level, as if to say, you're not ready for these woods yet, bitch. Number 3. When I was just a wee lad, my very first video game was Super Mario Brothers. My second game was Duck Hunt. And after going through Anne Orlando, I know exactly what the ducks feel like. I'm just up there on the rooftops, running around, having a good old time, not hurting anybody, and then boom, Dragon Slayer arrow just knocks my ass right out of the sky. So let me elaborate on how trolly this part of the game really is. First of all, if the arrows hit you one time, even if you're blocking them, they're gonna knock you off of the roof. When you get across the railway that you run on, you're just on a narrow ledge on the side of the castle. If you go to the left, there's an archer you can deal with. Guess what? It's a dead end, so you still have to turn around and deal with the other guy. Now, when you get to the other guy, he's going to keep shooting you the whole time you're trying to get to him. If he hits you, even if he hits you with your shield, again, it's just going to knock you off the side of the building. So you almost have to just get lucky or maybe roll through the arrows. When you get up to him, you're going to have to fight him. Maybe if you get lucky, he'll swing at you and fall, but I don't know. It's really hard if you can't parry. And sometimes I feel like I only get past this spot by pure luck. Without a doubt, this is the most infuriating section of this level, and I'm 100% sure I have died to these archers more than I've died to the level boss. Number 2, another one of my favorite moments of FromSoftware trolling comes when we get to the end of level 3-2 and we fight the Man-Eater boss. Now this boss is really tough because he's fast, he's strong, he can fly, and the boss arena is a very narrow bridge. Now I know some of you are going to say the Man-Eater boss isn't that hard, but picture again, Demon Souls, your first FromSoftware game. Most of the bosses in the game aren't incredibly hard. The Man-Eater boss is quite a different situation. And when I got to the point where I was starting to actually get his health down, it was really intense and I was nervous. And then a second one shows up. Man, I really tell you, these are the moments that make FromSoftware the freaking best. There is just no kind of intensity like that first time fighting the Man-Eater and just thinking that you've almost got him licked, and then the intensity ramps up so much more when that second one shows up. What a fantastic memory, and what a fantastic feeling of achievement when you finally beat this boss. Of course, I will wager that far more people had a similar experience in Dark Souls with the Gargoyle boss fight, and I can't blame you for feeling the same way. I think this is also a really excellent fight, and even though FromSoft does have some other situations where they have boss fights of this nature, I think these two are the best. Before getting to number 1, and it's a good one, I have a couple of honorable mentions that I wanted to throw into the video, and the first one is patches. Now, patches is sort of a tradition in FromSoftware games. Of course, with Demon Souls being my first FromSoftware game, I had the experience of him lying to me, kicking me into a pit, and then when I confronted him, he later became a vendor. The funny thing is, this is a very similar experience for most instances of patches. It is kind of ironic that FromSoftware's biggest NPC troll does kind of look like one. Just look at that little goblin. For the purposes of this countdown, I am mostly referring to patches in Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1 and 3, and Bloodborne, in which he is a spider. Because Bloodborne.
If you really are that gullible. Then stay away from the Volcano Manor! Bye now!
Even though by now we're all familiar with Patch's tricks, that first time you have to encounter him can be quite shocking and definitely pretty trolly when he deliberately kicks you into an area where you have to get through several opponents just to get back to him. I would like to note that Patches is not the same in every single game. In Armored Core 6, he just kind of fights you for a little bit and then runs away like a bitch.
What? Let's not do anything hasty. You realize I lead the Vesper 7th Squad, which means I hold the purse strings. You're quick on the uptake, aren't you? Splendid. You're not like those savages. Keep up the good work.
And next, FromSoftware likes to have these moments where you encounter a bridge where you fight a lot of enemies, and then all of a sudden, seemingly out of nowhere, a much larger than usual amount of fire comes around to destroy you and everyone else too. Hell, Demon Souls has an entire level built on this concept, where you're dodging dragon fire the whole time you're crossing a wall and killing enemies. And in Dark Souls 1, who can forget going from Undead Burg to Parish and having to deal with that bridge, fighting hollows, and getting nuked by dragonfire. And then Miyazaki and company thought to themselves, but we're making this super badass game called Bloodborne. But there are no dragons in Bloodborne. How are we going to make this thing work? Well, luckily for them, they were really smart, and in Central Yharnam, there's a bridge with a whole bunch of assholes that you gotta kill, and they just roll a giant fireball down the thing. I think it's freaking hilarious that FromSoftware has spots like this in their games, where you're already fighting a huge mob of opponents, but then, just in case they can't kill you, they just nuke the whole area like it's the end of Return of the Living Dead. And for the final honorable mention, I have a question. What could be more fun than going through a level in a FromSoftware game? The answer? Going through an entire level in a FromSoftware game while being shot at. One example of this comes to mind in that magical part of Dark Souls 3, where we get to flop around in the mud of Smoldering Lake, and the whole time we're down there, we get targeted by a giant freaking ballista. This thing does tons of damage, and it knocks you on your ass, and the only way to stop it is you have to go through the Dark Souls 3 demon ruins. Then you gotta climb the mountain, fight all the skeletons that are guarding the ballista, and then finally shut the damn thing down. And what is your reward for stopping the ballista? Now you get to explore Smoldering Lake. No thanks. The far superior version of this scenario is of course in Bloodborne when you go to Old Yharnam and Joro is up there on Sniper Tower raining fire down on you like a noob. Get down here and fight me, you freaking wuss! As a matter of fact, if you don't make peace with Joro, you can go up there and fight him. And my favorite thing about this guy is that he has a chance to just dodge right off the side of the tower and kill himself. And it is funny every single time. And it took me forever. Oh, he fell off the tower. He fell down. He's not dead, is he? Oh yeah, he is. I see his little item. Nice. I really think dealing with Juro and his minigun is a lot of fun. Whereas Smoldering Lake is tedious and annoying, going through Old Yharnam is pretty fun, and it really ramps up the intensity and the difficulty, and it makes you play a fun game of hide and seek. It's kind of trolly, but I kind of like it. And now, boys and girls, here we go. The #1 moment where FromSoftware trolled us. Actually, to be clear, I do have 2 examples, but they're such similar moments that I wanted to talk about both of them on the list. And I know some of you guys, y'all were going to give me shit if I didn't mention both of them, so I'm doing it. And the first scenario comes in Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, when you fight the Guardian Ape. Now this is an intense fight and he is one of the hardest bosses in the game. And if you can deal with his strong attacks and his doo-doo he throws at you, you will be able to win by grabbing the giant katana that is shoved in his neck and twisting it around until it completely decapitates the beast. And in an awesome moment of FromSoftware badassery, text comes up on the screen that says Shinobi Execution. Hell yeah! Then the unthinkable happens. The son of a bitch gets up. He grabs the sword, which is no longer in his neck. He picks up his head, and then he starts chasing you and screaming and trying to kill you. That's metal as f***. It's so crazy that after defeating such a difficult boss, the game even tells you that he was executed. I mean, is it even possible to get more caught off guard than that? There is only one other moment I can think of that has to be the absolute trolliest, most coming out of left field to shock me moment in FromSoftware gaming. We're going to have to go to the ashes of Ariandel. When you get to fight Sister Frida, she is very tough. If you manage to take her down, Father Ariandel screams, throws a royal shit fit, and wakes her up with the power of anger and fire. And this is where the real fight starts. Now you have two bosses sharing a single health bar. Ariandel is just spreading fire all over the place and smashing you to pieces with his giant cereal bowl. And Sister Frida, she likes to heal him. She's pretty passive in this stage, but this is still one of the hardest fights in Dark Souls 3. After a long, hard-fought battle, you finally take them down, and you get your reward, a Titanite slab. Now that's what I'm talking about. Pat yourself on the back, Ashen One. You deserve it. And then, while Miyazaki and his co-workers are laughing their balls off, Father Ariandel's voice rings out in the arena to let you know that you are in big, big trouble. And then Black Flame Frida jumps up from the ground to make you poop in your pants and pay for your hubris. This moment is so freaking sadistic. It is just awesome. I mean, this game does everything to let you know that the boss fight is over and done. They even give you a reward. And then the third phase shows up and it is hard as crap. Oh man, this just hit me right out of nowhere. I have never felt so betrayed by a game in all my life.
Everybody betrayed me. I fed up with this world.
You know, if there's one thing that we can learn from the list, is that FromSoft has no qualms about shitting in your cornflakes. And I love them for it, because these kind of moments are the moments that really stick with you on your playthrough. And as Miyazaki said, his games are designed to give you hardships that you push through and achieve greatness by overcoming. And all of these moments are things that really make you a better player, in my opinion. And I love them for that. And now I want to take this opportunity to thank all of my wonderful and supportive channel members. Last Bulbasaur. All I Want for Ludmus is Wig. Theremin Electro. Ethan T. Telemrack. Guinea Piglet. You know, eventually I'm probably going to memorize all these and I won't even have to read the list anymore. Zach Gorecki. Tommy Sunshine. Fuzzy Love Panda X. M. Jean. Holy Corn God Form 1. Crispy. I0. J. Jarek Markland. Coffee and Computers. The Deficienist. And our newest channel member. Please welcome Thigh Pick Dealer. Good to have you. Whew, boy, that was a lot of fun. This video has been a video that I've really wanted to make for a while, and I just want to say that I know that the last video took kind of a while to get out, and I'm planning on making them being a lot more frequent. And again, I want to thank everybody for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up to see more stuff like this. Please comment if you have any opinions on this list, or maybe think of anything that I kind of left out and forgot about. Please share this video if you got a friend or somebody that you think might enjoy it. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to get notified when the next video goes up, because I'm already working on it. Love you guys. See you next time.
Be gone with you. You'll spoil my focus.